Welcome back. Welcome back to From the Shed End with myself, Theo. As always, thank you very much for joining the channel. If you're new here, as always, please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure you like the video. Please leave your thoughts, your comments. The Linktree link is in the description, so make sure you hit that as well. That will take you to all the social media accounts, all our previous podcast episodes as well. Episode one, I'm gonna get this wrong. 136 or 146. I should know that. But our latest episode has dropped yesterday. So make sure you hit the Linktree link in the description, and make sure you listen to that. Theo, the other Theo, is probably somewhere right now on his way to the airport. He's out there. He's going to watch Panathinaikos versus Greece in the Conference League tomorrow, 5:45 kickoff in the Conference League. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to talk about that in this live stream today as well. Um, we're going to get into our predicted lineup. We're going to get into all of that. There's a couple of things I want to touch on before we get there. There's a couple of things I want to touch on, and the first one being obviously, anyone who knows, right back has been a thing for us over the last couple of seasons, where we've had obviously Cesar Spiliqueta, we had Reece James injured in and out of the team. We bought Malo Gusto. At one point, we were playing Ruben Loftus-Cheek as a right wing back and Raheem Sterling as right wing backs. Neither of them obviously were the right option. Let's be honest, neither of them were the correct option for us to go forward with. But yeah, I think we're at a situation now where we're heavily blessed both sides, full back, left back, right back, and things are working well for us. Now, I read an article yesterday on a particular young player that we have at the club, Josh Acheampong, a player that I've spoken about on this channel a couple of times before, a player that I've spoken about on numerous occasions before, and someone that I've always championed and said we realistically need to be able to get into this squad and nurture him, utilize him, make sure that he's not just a player that's out on the fringe, a player that we utilize in the best way possible. And we haven't done that so far. And the reports that are coming out at the moment is that Josh Achiampong has been held to ransom on a new contract. He's been told that he has to sign a new deal at the club in order to stay and play some football. Now, at the moment, as it stands, he hasn't played football, I think, competitively for a month now. A month's a long time to go. If you're a Premier League footballer or professional footballer, a month is a long time to go without kicking a football competitively. You can train as much as you want as a player. You can train, you can put yourself in an environment where you feel like you're in a match and all the rest of it. But if you're not in that match environment and you're not playing to the match standards, the levels, it doesn't matter what else you do. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I think with this situation with Josh Achiampong, I think we have to get that resolved very quickly. Now, there's a lot of talk about whether Josh Achiampong wants a move away from the club. Now, he's still got 2 years left on his deal. He's got 2 years left on the deal. It stinks a bit like Conor Gallagher all over again. It stinks a bit like Mason Mount all over again. You know, the contract is offered to these players, they're put on the table to them, the agents are there with them. The deal might not be for the player, it might not be right for the player might want something else out of the deal. And if that's the case, so be it. I'm glad that some of these players are now stepping up and they're not just signing the deals, the 8-year, 9-year deals. The downside to doing that is that the ownership now clear in the fact that they will not play a player who is not willing to sign a deal that they feel that they should be signing. I personally think that is completely wrong. I feel like we should be looking at the likes of Acheampong and some of the other youth players, not just as assets, but as players that we want to nurture, as I said, develop and put into the first team. Now, Acheampong, I think, was given his debut by Pochettino a couple of months ago, obviously before Pochettino was sacked or left, and he's a good right back. He's a very good right back. I've watched him for the development squad before as well. He's a very, very, very good right back. He's an England under 20 international as well. So he's someone that is recognized on the international stage as well. He's got bags of potential. There's a reason why Real Madrid a reason why Liverpool are sniffing around this young right back that we have at the club, because he's actually a very good player. Now I'm going to try and bring up the article from the Athletic, because they do go into a bit more detail about this. Um, where are we? So yeah, it says here that Chelsea's Josh Acheampong frozen out of first team and under 21s until he signs a new contract. It does go on to say that Chelsea's highly rated teenage defender has been told he will not play for the club's first team or development squad until he signs a new contract. Acheampong's current deal expires in 2026, which is very strange because he still has 2 years left on the deal. Now, this feels a bit like what Todd Bowley and Clear Lake and all the rest of those guys at the top are trying to do with some of our players, and that's put them on these long-term contracts. They see a bit of quality in the players, put them on a long-term contract. If you're not willing to sign it, we're going to sell you for a lot of profit. Is what I feel like they're trying to do here. With they've done it with Conor Gallagher, Mason Mount, Ruben Loftus-Cheek ended up going. So, a lot of these young players that we're bringing through the youth system, as much as we used to see some of them get an opportunity, especially the English players, we see a lot of them get an opportunity in the Premier League in the first team. We're not seeing that now. The choices are you play in the development squad until you're told to come into the Premier League, into the senior squad, or you sign a deal and we're going to probably send you out on loan to Strasbourg or to somewhere else, and you better stay in line. Um, it goes on to say that his deal expires in 2026 and the club have opened talks over an extension to secure his long-term future, but nothing has been finalized yet. In the summer, Chelsea regarded him as third choice in the pecking order of their right backs at the club, behind current captain Reece James and Malo Gusto. Now, I'm not against that at all. I feel with Achiempong, I think it makes sense to have him at the club as a third choice. I've spoken before on here about Conference League football. I'm thinking tomorrow's game now. Now, obviously, we know Reece James is come back. He was playing on Sunday. We know that Malagusto is there as well, but there's a massive game coming up against Newcastle next Sunday, on Sunday coming as well. You have to ask the question, would this be a game? And I think the answer to the question is yes, that Josh Achiampong should be playing tomorrow night in Greece. He fits the role perfectly. This is the perfect game for him to come into and gain some experience. As I said, he's not just a player that's come through the development squad and he's just playing at the development squad level. He's playing internationally for the England under 20s or under 21s at international level. So it's not like he's coming in and he's only playing against Colchester and Charlton. He's playing at some quality level. He's already made his Premier League debut. He's made his debut already. So for me, it doesn't make sense to not have him at least as an option in our squad this season. And these sort of situations, we've seen it with Ben Chilwell as well. Where they're being frozen out the team, they're being told. Remember, Conor Gallagher got told to train separately away from the squad while his Atletico Madrid deal was going through. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Um, it does say here, however, Achiampong was not even named on the bench for Chelsea's game at Bournemouth and West Ham last month, despite James and Gusto being unavailable for selection through injury. Head coach Enzo Maresca used Axel Dazazi and Wesley Fofana, who are more known as centre backs, at right back instead. Now, I don't have a problem with players filling in for a role when there's not the availability of the right players, i.e., if Josh Achiampong was playing in the development squad at the same time as Chelsea or on the same day as the senior squad, and we didn't have Gusto and Reece James available, I understand that. But when you've got someone who has proven and shown signs of good quality and can play as a right back and you're not using him, we can't then complain when we lose to Liverpool 2-1 when we're playing Malo Gusto left back. This is a prime example on the other side when we had Ben Chilwell, albeit, Maresca has said on numerous occasions that he's not involved in his plans. But when you've got a game against Liverpool, and we've seen it against, I think, Barrow in the Carabao Cup, sometimes needs must. And sometimes you've got to go against your word. You've got to go against what you said initially. And you've got to actually bite your tongue and say, you know what, I'll hold my hands up. I was wrong. I got that wrong. And this is one of those situations. Acheampong made his professional debut under former boss Mauricio Pochettino against Tottenham in February and was taken on the club's pre-season tour of the USA ahead of the more experienced Trevor Chalobah. Another player that was ostracized and taken out the squad was Trevor Chalobah. But the 18-year-old has made just one appearance under Maresca so far, playing 27 minutes as a substitute against Barrow in the Carabao Cup on September 24th. He was not named in the matchday squad since then. Significantly, Acheampong has not played for the under-21s either. I find that bit a bit alarming from the Chelsea hierarchy, if I'm honest. I think the fact that they're not just freezing him out of the senior squad, they're basically saying you're not playing in any squad of ours until you sign this deal. It's almost blackmail. It is almost blackmail. You're not playing for us until you sign the deal. I'm not with that at all. I think that's really, really bad management of a young player. I remember listening to an interview a couple of years ago with Charlie Masonda, who, on the flip side, was saying, "Look, I'll sign and play for free for you lot. I want to stay at Chelsea. I want to play for you lot," and they let him go. And he had a really torrid time with his injuries and whatever else. So this is a completely different scenario, but not even allowing Acheampong to get minutes under his belt at the 21 level, for me, this isn't a case of he's not ready for the senior squad. This is a case of you're not listening to what we're telling you to do, so you're not playing for the squad at all, development or senior squad. So I don't agree with that at all. His last match for the under 21s was September 15th, and his name was not on the team sheet for their Premier League match against Bournemouth last night, a couple of weeks ago. It means he's gone nearly a full month without representing Chelsea at any level. And then, as I said, he's not injured. He's made 2 appearances for England under 20s recently during the international break. It was reported last week that Acheampong, who can also play at centre back, versatility, that's what we like at Chelsea, is already being targeted by other high profile clubs over a January transfer. Now, we would be so stupid, so stupid to allow Acheampong to go to Liverpool. Remember, Trent is on the radar for Madrid. Madrid really do need a right back with Carvajal being out for the rest of the season with, I think, an ACL injury. We would be so stupid to allow such a young, youthful player that's showing signs of quality to go for any fee, whether it's a good fee for us at the time right now, or there's a fee with add-ons that helps us in the future. We would be stupid, man. We've got to look back at Kevin De Bruyne, Mo Salah, even for Theo Tomori at AC Milan, how he started his season there. Christian Pulisic is now pulling up trees at AC Milan as well. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep letting go of good talent and letting them go to other clubs and strengthen a Real Madrid, strengthen Liverpool. I mean, Acheampong in Liverpool would be, it's not even worth thinking about. It's not even worth thinking about. And they could still buy him and keep Trent Alexander-Arnold, because if they keep him, there's nothing to say that they couldn't play both of them. I know they've got kind of Connor Bradley, but this is what, when you want to win the Premier League, or you want to win the Champions League, or you want to win a Europa League or Conference League or any trophy, it doesn't even matter what the trophy is. You have to have depth. We've been there before where Reece James is injured, Malagusto suspended. Who are we playing right back? Now this is a prime example of when you keep Acheampong in the under 21 squad, and when his moments are there for him to take in the senior squad, you give it to him. If there's a moment for him to come into the senior squad, like tomorrow, against Panathinaikos in Greece, you give it to him. You give him some minutes and experience at the top level, and then he can still continue his development at the under 21 level. So I just don't understand this situation that we're putting our players in at the moment. Um, it's bonkers, man. As it goes on to say in the article on The Athletic, this is not the first time Chelsea have taken a strong stance with academy graduates during their contract negotiations. So in some ways, this development is not too much of a surprise. I agree. Chelsea made it pretty clear their treatment of more established Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher, that they do not want players to run their contracts down to 12 months. So this probably goes back to that point around, yes, Acheampong has got 2 years left on his deal, but we don't want to get into that 12 months where we're kind of at the point where we either let him go for free or he's refusing to sign a deal in 12 months' time. So I get it from a Chelsea perspective, but look, there's got to be some negotiations with the agent. The agent has to be involved, and getting involved, he's still such a young player. Um, Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Um, both first team players had 1 year remaining. This is Conor Gallagher, Mason Mount. Both had 1 year deals on their contracts. One was sold to Manchester United. Ha ha ha. We know how that's going for Mason Mount. And Atletico Madrid for Conor Gallagher, who recently got Player of the Month, I think, in La Liga, respectfully. Offers were made during the rounds of talks beforehand, but after no agreement was reached, Chelsea felt it left them with little choice because they could not afford to miss out on a sizable transfer fee. Um, it is some ways very similar to Conor Gallagher and Mason Mount. Why I feel this one's different is because there's room for Acheampong in the squad. There wasn't room for Conor Gallagher. You think about all the players who were brought in: Enzo, Palmer. If Conor Gallagher was going to play in the 10, then Nkunku's there, Palmer's there, João Felix is now there. There's too many players ahead of him. In the midfield, yes, we could have maybe used Conor Gallagher there, but again, Lavia, Dewsbury Hall came in, which obviously was Maresca's choice. Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez. So we didn't need another Conor Gallagher. Mason Mount fell off the boil completely. He was landsliding down, declining very quickly. So I think Chelsea wanted to get rid of him, regardless of him signing a new deal. I don't think that was even an option for us. But goes on to say in the article that Chelsea do hold Acheampong in high regard, but the teenager has been given reason to question his pathway to featuring a lot more in the future. By not even making a squad for Bournemouth and West Ham United games with James and Gusto ruled out, does it send a signal that he's not going to be called upon very often? While Chelsea do miss out on buying Lima to Wolves, they did make a move for the 18-year-old right back in the first place, and by spending well over 1 billion, which we're going to talk about in a minute, um, over 2 years, they've built a reputation for looking for talent elsewhere. Acheampong's hesitation is make the two other homegrown right backs in Tariq Lamptey and Tino Livramento, who also left during the Roman Abramovich era. They rejected contracts because of fear over game time, with Cesar Azpilicueta, James being in front of them. Lamptey was sold to Brighton and Livramento joined Southampton. The decision to leave Acheampong out of Chelsea's teams, though, is similar to what former striker Dominic Solanke went through in 2016-2017 before he left for Liverpool. It goes on to say that Chelsea will think if Acheampong really wants to stay at Stamford Bridge, then he should sign. But from the outside, it's hard to see how much this tactic of freezing out improves the chances. Now, I don't know where I sit with that, because it is absolutely crazy to think that, we've got a player on our hands there. As I said, for me, Acheampong has very good qualities about him. He's a really good right back. I'm really impressed with how he plays on that right side. Defensively, I think he's very good. There's still a lot of work in terms of getting himself going forward, and being having the ability to beat players and get balls into the box in an offensive situation. But I think that will come. We remember we're talking about a young player, very youthful player here. I think he's someone that will develop into a very good right back, a very good right back. Another player that is very versatile in terms of going into the centre back roles as well. I just think it'd be stupid to lose him. I really do. I really think if we lose him, we can't complain. we just can't complain about it. We can't complain, because at the end of the day, we've given every opportunity, every single opportunity to keep our quality players. These are our players. They're our players. We have to make sure that we look after them. We have to make sure that we utilize the squad. We have to utilize the squad. It's as simple as that. I don't understand how we keep getting rid of all these players. Like the players that we've got at the squad, even going back to Kevin De Bruyne, even going back to Mo Salah. I know some people will say that at the time there was no guarantee that they were going to be amazing players. Look, I get it, but the scouts would have been there and seen that there was definitely signs of good players at the club. There's signs of quality in them. What we the problem that we've got now is that our model seems to be that we want to be able to go and find the next big South American top player. or Spanish or whoever. And what by doing that, what we're doing is we're theoretically not allowing homegrown talent to come through. Some of those names I just reeled off there. Tammy Abraham's another one. Dominic Solanke's another one. Jake Clark Salter, another one. Casey Palmer, going back even further, another one. So some of these players, I'm not saying that all of them would have been Premier League quality or they would have been able to play, week in, week out for us. But did they really get given an opportunity? A real opportunity? Even Henry Lauritsen, another one, very versatile that could play left back, centre back. He could drop into midfield. Lewis Hall, another one who could play left back, drop into midfield, could play further up the field. We've had all these players that we have on our books, and then we allow them to go, whether it's on a good fee or a good transfer fee, which is great, or we let them go for free or peanuts or whatever. It doesn't really matter. We should be trying to bring some of these players through first before we go and look and buy certain players. Because what happens is when they develop, we look back on them and think, we should have kept him. Even Tino Livramento, another one, we should have kept him. We should have kept him. I just don't understand why we're allowing someone like Acheampong to, if we do end up letting him go, especially to a rival. I mean, the fact that Real Madrid, I know I've said this already, I'm going to say it again. The fact that Real Madrid and Liverpool are looking into this player tells you that there's some quality in him. Liverpool and Real Madrid would not be looking into Josh Acheampong if they didn't think there was some quality in the player and he had capability to improve and progress over the next 2 or 3 seasons. Because there's other right backs that Real Madrid can go for. They're in desperate need of a right back, so I'm pretty sure they would go out and buy someone. But they're looking for the future. They seem to be looking now more overseas rather than bringing through. The Spanish thing of time has been they like to bring through their own youth through the Spanish youth ranks as well. But they're looking elsewhere. They're bringing through some of the other, French leagues are doing it now with Marcus Rashford, and they're looking at the guy that's already at Marseille that I don't want to talk about. But they're looking at other English players now. And for me, Acheampong, I would just keep him at the squad. I would keep him with the team because he's such a. You need depth. You need depth if you're gonna win anything. And we, of all fans, should know this. We've been through some dark, treacherous times as Chelsea fans where we were struggling through injuries. And yes, we've got a nice, clean bill of health at the moment, but we have been through struggling times where we haven't had that clean bill of health, and we've had to play certain players. Even the other day, playing Axel Dazazi and Wesley Fofana at right back. We've got a right back right there. We've got a right back right there that can play that role. We got to do better for him, man. Hopefully he stays. Hopefully we can keep Acheampong at the club, because for me, letting him go to a rival doesn't make any sense at all. It just doesn't make any sense. Let's move on. Because I want to talk about our defenders and our goalkeepers next. Yeah, where do I start with this one, man? Because I'm trying to think, how much have we spent? I think we've spent over let's say 1.6 billion. I think we've probably spent in that region. 1.4, 1.6 billion pounds has been spent at this club. And what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to bring up the goalkeepers that we've got. Oh, man. These are our goalkeepers. Obviously, we have Petrovic, we have Kepa, we have another goalkeeper on loan, don't we? Somewhere. We have a goalkeeper on loan. Let's go look at the ones on loan. So we've got Petrovic, Sharman Lowe, Ted Kurd. I think they must be from the youth team. Eddie Beach, Luke Campbell, Kepa Arrizabalaga, and Slanina was the other one. Now, we've spent over £1 billion on players since Todd Bowley and co took over this club. And I kid you not, these are our goalkeepers. This is the quality of goalkeeper, and I'm not saying Jurgensen could be actually a really good goalkeeper. I don't think he's been given the opportunity, but Bettinelli was always going to be backup. Bergstrom was never really going to get an opportunity as first choice. Robert Sanchez is the top creme de la creme of goalkeepers at Chelsea right now. I mean, someone's messed up somewhere in the scouting department because we've been able to bring in Enzo Fernandez, Romeo Lavia, Moises Caicedo, Pedro Neto, and Kunku, Mikhailo Mudrik, even though he hasn't really done anything for us so far. Malagusto, Renato Vega, all of these players that we've brought in, and some that are still to come. We've still got a couple of the young South American kids to come in the next couple of seasons or so. And Robert Sanchez is the top of the top, first choice, number one, number one choice for Chelsea as goalkeeper. We messed up somewhere in the scouting department that day because we can't have going forward. I said yesterday on the podcast, I said it the day before when I done the match review. We cannot have that guy as our number one choice goalkeeper. We just can't, because he does not look comfortable on the ball. He doesn't look comfortable on the ball at all. He doesn't look comfortable on the ball at all. And the problem that we've got with him is that he wasn't even first choice at Brighton. De Zerbi dropped him for Steele, Jason Steele. He became third choice goalkeeper at the time. We can't afford to have this guy we can't afford to have Robert Sanchez as our number one choice goalkeeper. It just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work because yes, he's a very good shot stopper, which is brilliant. Sometimes you see some of the saves he pulls off and you think, yeah, brilliant. You've done what you should have done. That's your job. Your job. If I'm a postman, my job is to post letters through letterboxes. You've done your job. Brilliant. I love it. Great. But the thing that gets me is we are a team clearly that are hell bent. Enzo Maresca and his training, his coaching staff want us to play out from the back. That's just a given. Most teams now, Premier League, non-Premier League, League 2, League 1, Championship, whatever, French League, Spanish League, they all tend to play out from the back now. That's just the modern way of football. Someone somewhere should be coaching or trying to teach that into Sanchez, because he can't do it. He cannot play out from the back. He's not comfortable with the ball at his feet. I said on the match review on Monday, there's times in that game against Liverpool, Reece James gives him the ball back. He hasn't even received the ball. He hasn't even received the ball, and he's already panicking. He's already panicking about what to do with this ball. And sometimes he's not even under pressure. Sometimes the opposition are yards away from you and you're still panicking under pressure. You're still looking, you've got to be a bit more decisive as a goalkeeper when you make those decisions to pass the ball through the midfield or try and pass it through, or you play it out wide to one of your fullbacks. But you've got to make the right call. And if the ball isn't on, don't pass that ball. That's a massive worry for me as a number one goalkeeper. We still don't have a goalkeeper that's confident enough to play out from the back and isn't able to execute basic things as well. Sanchez is a worry, man. He's an absolute worry, a liability going forward as a goalkeeper for us. We cannot have him. We cannot have him as number one, because if we do, I said the other day, it doesn't matter if we score 2 goals, or if it's 1-0 and there's 80 minutes to go on the clock, I'm not confident that this guy's going to keep the ball out of the net for the remainder of that game. Sanchez is not the guy to do that for us. He's not the guy to do that for us. Because whenever he's got the ball, again, Sunday, Levi Colwell passes him the ball. Now, that ball back to Colwell isn't on. The ball to Levi Colwell at this point is not on from Sanchez. Sanchez should either clear his lines, hoof the ball, look for one of the strikers or the attackers, or you switch the ball to the right side and see if Reece James or who played alongside Reece James now? whoever it was, I can't even remember who it was that played right side alongside him now, but you would play, oh, Tossin, sorry, it was Tossin. So you either play it to Tossin or you play it to Reece James on the right side. If that ball is not on, you've got to go long as a goalkeeper and just clear your lines, because at the point where, especially against a team like Liverpool, and it could happen tomorrow. You know, we can't underestimate Panathinaikos at all. But when you've got a play running towards you from the opposition, in your mind you probably feel, and I've done it. I mean, I'm not at Premier League level, but I've done it. I've played in goal a few times, and you think you've got a couple of seconds to actually decide what you're going to do, and you misjudge the speed of the player running towards you. Before you know it, they're on top of you. You don't have an opportunity to clear that ball now. So you have to be assertive and decisive in the decision that you're going to make the pass, whether it's on the right side to the fullback, whether it's to the left back, whether it's to the left centre back, whoever, or you're going to try and split the defense, split the ball through to the middle in the midfield. You have to be decisive doing that. And there's too many times now that we've seen Robert Sanchez not make that call. That judgment has not been there. Now I'm just looking at the goalkeeper situation again. Is Bettinelli a better option? 100% not. Is Bergstrom a better option than Robert Sanchez? I don't think so. But there is a question mark over Felipe Jurgensen, whether he is the guy to take that mantle off Robert Sanchez. Because I remember speaking to Theo about him, and I said that he's actually impressed me. I still think he's got mistakes in him, but he's very good with his feet. Very, very good from what we've seen so far with his feet, with the ball at his feet. His distribution could be a bit better, but it's not any worse than Robert Sanchez. There's a massive question to say, does Jurgensen actually come in tomorrow if he's back from his injury that he picked up in the international break and become our number one? Because something has to change with this guy. We can't afford to have mistakes at the back. Our defense is shaky, which we're going to get onto in a minute anyway. Our defense is shaky. We need a calm goalkeeper. A calm goalkeeper in that back line. If we don't have that, all hell breaks loose at the back. All hell will break loose at the back because we don't have someone calm and assertive at the back. And when your goalkeeper's under pressure, it unnerves your centre backs. I've played, now that's one position I can talk about. I've played their right back, centre back, and if your goalkeeper is very nervy on the ball, you have to anticipate they're going to make a mistake, and you can't play the game that you want to play. So, maybe we're seeing these mistakes from tossing, or remember there was a spell where Badia Shield looked like he was going to fit into when Thiago Silva left, and with Thiago Silva there, and also when Thiago Silva left as well, or was out the team. Badia Shield had a spell of games last season where he looked amazing. He just looked amazing. He looked confident. He was tall. He looked comfortable on the ball. And then there was a period of time where he got dropped out of the team. And that period was when, I don't know what happened with him, but he just didn't seem like the Badia Shield that had started that season, last season, where he was really putting in some good performances and he looked so comfortable. And it's almost like we didn't miss Thiago Silva at that point. But whatever happened to him, whether it's a training issue, off-field issue, or just was out of the game for so long and he was benched for quite a while, and sometimes he wasn't even in the starting 11 or on the bench. But those moments in games define a defender. You have to be confident, and your goalkeeper has to be confident behind you. um I think we're missing a lack of experience in our back line. And I remember saying when Thiago Silva left that we needed a leader. Theo said it on here before on the podcast as well. We are lacking leadership in this squad, and defensively in all the places on that pitch, you've got to have a leader. You've got to have someone that, and I don't mean someone that screams and shouts and throws their weight around a little bit. I'm talking about someone that it's just a calm leader and that organizes things at the back. You look at Virgil van Dijk and how he does it for Liverpool. Um, you know, Signs of it with Saliba, how well he is at centre back as well. Um, previous to that, you look at even Vincent Company, you look at John Terry for us, Ricardo Carvalho for us, Gary Cahill for us. We've always had very, very good centre backs, very good leaders. Um, Even Ashley Cole, very good leader. Aspilicueta, very good leader. Ivanovic, a very good leader at the back. Some of these were just solid centre backs or solid right backs. We don't have that anymore. And one of the things I remember saying at the time was, if we lose Thiago Silva, we should keep him on as a coach. We should keep him as a player coach or a coach or just in a coaching capacity at the club. And I think we will. I think once he's done I think he's got a 2-year deal that he signed in Brazil. We'll bring him back, but we need him now. I would have kept Thiago. I would have threw every bit of money at Thiago Silva to just do another season, even if it meant he's hardly playing any football. He's just playing 1 or 2 games a season. Now he might not want to do that, and he might want to actually carry on playing. And maybe his desire was to go and play, his final footballing years as a professional in Brazil, where he started his football career, which is fair enough. But the fact that his sons, I think one of his sons played in the youth team. He's still obviously got a residence here in London, in England. I would have kept him. I would have kept him just for the coaching experience and all of that, and just having someone like Thiago Silva off the field, Dizazi learning from him, Badia Shaw learning from him, Levi Colwell learning from him, Wesley Fofana, Gusto, Renato Vega, Cucurella. Thiago Silva is someone that you need, even if you don't keep him. Matt Hummels was there. Matt Hummels, I think he's about 32, 33. He was a prime example, free transfer. I'm not just downplaying the Tosin one, because Tosin, for me, albeit the mistake on Sunday, but I think he's a really good defender. I just think for what we need, when we need an experienced centre back, we're gonna go through the defenders actually. Let's see if anyone disagrees with me. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me bring it up. Let's go through the defenders. And let's see who agrees or who disagrees. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video as well. Yeah, make sure you go back, hit that Linktree link in the description. But look, so let's look at our left backs that we've currently got at the squad. Yeah, let's look at them, because we've got Renato Vega, left back. Although it says defensive midfield, defender midfielder, we know that he can play left back as well. We got Ben Chilwell, who's out the team. We know that. We got Mark Cucurella, left back. Reece James, Malo Gusto, right back. Yeah. So there's our 2 options for the fullback positions there. Now, centre back. Centre back is where I'm talking about, really. So we've got Wesley Fofana. Let's start with him. Injured with Leicester. Massive injury. I think he broke his leg. Comes back. Comes to Chelsea. Injured. Out for the season. He comes back. I think he gets injured again. He's only just come back to full fitness. So you're talking about Wesley Fofana from Leicester, who, let's be honest as well, did he even have that much of an impact in Leicester? Probably not. Not enough to warrant him a move to Chelsea off the back of 2 injuries, or off the back of a big injury anyway. There's question marks about Wesley Fofana. There's massive question marks about Wesley Fofana. Because if he's not good enough, have we just wasted 50 odd million on a player? Possibly, because we haven't. I can't name a period of time for Chelsea, and this is probably because of his injuries, but even back-to-back games, or a run of games, or the games that he's featured in, where I thought, yeah, he's been the outstanding centre back. He's been the solid centre back. I can't think of one game where he's been the difference in the game. Centre backs are hard to come by. They really are. Let's start with Tosin, because I feel a bit harsh on Tosin as well. Obviously, he's come into the team, free transfer from Fulham, signed a 4-year deal. I mean, even that's a bit mad. A 4-year deal for a player that is 27, came through the City ranks, but still, it's just crazy. I forgot. Yeah, he was at West Brom, Blackburn on loan. Went to Fulham. Um, let's look at his stats here. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's sixth for clearances, fifth for blocks, he's made one interception. Um, total touches is 16th, 13th. I mean, I gotta be honest, it don't look good, does it? It don't look good. I mean, that helps him. Things like that help him, but one key pass. No, that can't be over the season so far. That can't be over a season. One key pass. Out of how many games? Sorry. How many games are we talking here? Out of four. That's not good, man. That ain't good at all. One key pass. Am I just read that right or I read that wrong? So wait, wait. So he's made 150 passes and only one of them's been key. Oh yeah, no, I don't know about him. I think that kind of sums up what I mean about tossing. Not good enough. Let's go to Badia Shield. Again, 23 years of age, so still quite young. Let's be honest, he's still quite young. But yeah, you want to see a bit more. Now he's made one appearance so far this season. He's only played 37 minutes, so it kind of tells you. But yeah, I mean, I don't really expect much from him. Yeah, I don't really expect much from him. But we need to see more from Badia Shield. We need to see more from him because I feel like he's one of those. Like I said, I kind of see a bit more in him than I do with Tossin because I've seen the progression that I know he can go on and the levels that I think Badia Shield can get to. I feel like the ceiling's a lot higher with Badia Shield than it is with Tossin. You know, I feel like Tossin's had those moments maybe with Fulham where he's looked really good, but again, no disrespect to Fulham, that's Fulham. You know, this is Chelsea. We need someone solid. I feel like Badia Shaw might be that person. I know I've called him the Choco Brothers on here with him and Dazazi, but I feel like he's more solid than Tossen. I really do. Be interesting because I think he would probably get in my team for tomorrow, but we'll have to see about that in a minute. Now, Levi Colwell for me is the standout player that we have at centre back. The one that stands out for us, again, 21 years of age, so he's still young. He's still young in his development. He's still progressing. He's still learning. You know, had a really hard time, I think, under Pochettino when he was playing at left back rather than left centre back. But he still put out some good performances. He didn't necessarily play well at left back, but I don't expect him to, based on you know where he was being played. He looks like he's one of the most used players in the squad. Team ranking first for total touches, you know, fourth for tackles, one. Clearances is first. Interceptions he's first. Blocks he's first. You know, duels one he's fifth. But I mean, I mean the stats are talking for themselves here already. Uh, okay, he's only made two key passes. I don't know why I'm on that. This is a key thing for him though as well. I do have to say this, and this isn't just because of the Liverpool game on Sunday, but his foul, the fact he's on two yellow cards already, and he's already committed 9 fouls. Bearing in mind we're only on 8 games, that's easily a foul a game, which I understand where he plays. He's going to make those kind of tackles and lunge in and whatever else. But I think he does need to be careful in terms of his tackling because they lead to silly mistakes, silly yellow cards, penalties, whatever else. So I think we need to, but I mean, even that is brilliant. I mean, that shows you the direction of where he's making these passes. Out of the total 567 that he's made, nearly 200 of them are forward. As a centre back, I love that because even as a centre back, I mean, let's go back and check Badia Shaw's. Oh, not Badia Shaw's, probably a wrong one to check. Let's check Let's check Fofana, because Fofana's probably again the most used centre back I think this season, in terms of the partnership. Yeah, he's played 7, but you see already there's a drop off in terms of how many forward passes, more back passes for Fofana than there is to from Colwell. I just think for me, Levi Colwell's the one we got to build that centre back partnership around. Whether that's Badia Shill, whether that's um, Wesley Fofana or someone else, we need to build that partnership together quickly, because I feel that's one of the things why we're making so many mistakes. One week it's Tossen, one week it's Wesley Fofana, the next week it's someone else. I feel like we're making these mistakes all the time because there isn't no cohesion, no build up of relationship between the two centre backs. As I said before, John Terry, Carvalho, John Terry, Gary Cahill, um, you know, they had that partnership in that back line, and that was always there. One would cover the other, and vice versa. And I think we need to get on that page with our centre backs and our defensive line. I think that's where we're going wrong at the moment. We're going wrong because we're swapping and changing things at the back all the time. It's not a consistent back line. We've tried to do that obviously with Fafana and Colwell. I just don't think it's working. So we have to personally, maybe do we start integrating Badia Shill back into there? Let's look at Dizazi. Let's see what Dizazi is. I don't think has he even started a game this season for us? I don't think he has. Oh, he would have started the West Ham game, wouldn't he? I think 26 years of age, 2 appearances this season, 1 start for us. Um, Expected, he's only played 95 minutes so far this season in the league. So he's 18th in total touches. He hasn't even registered a tackle. By looks, well, he's not even ranked anyway. I think he's made 1 tackle. 7th in terms of duels, 10th in terms of clearances. And yeah, to be expected based on the number of games he's played. But we just need to do more. We need to do more defensively, and this is why I said, me personally, I would have kept Thiago Silva for another season at least for another season, and then let him go. Get your defensive line set up correctly first, and then let him go and play in Brazil for a year or 2 and come back and let him be a coach. That's the intention that Thiago Silva wants. He wants to come back to Chelsea at some point. He's made that evidently clear. He's got unfinished business at the club in a coaching capacity, but I'd bring him back. And we need a proper defensive coach. The other option, it's going to sound wild, but this is another option, is to upgrade John Terry's role. Bring him into the senior squad as a coach, because I think, again, I think he's still part of the under 18s coaching staff at the moment. I feel like if we brought John Terry up to the senior squad and helped someone, because the average age, I've just gone through our age there. No one is above, apart from Tossen, I don't think anyone's over the age of 25 in our defense. Even that probably includes Gusto. That would probably include Reece James, I think. Not sure about Cucurella, but bring someone who's played at the top level and is clearly still the best Premier League centre back that the Premier League has ever had. Forget Virgil van Dijk for a minute. He's not even in a conversation with John Terry, but bring John Terry into that coaching staff. Make him a senior squad coaching defensive coach, even on an interim basis, even to the end of the season, until you can assess and see who we need to bring in as another centre back if that's the case. If Fafana's not working, or if Dizazi and Badia Shill aren't working and one of them need to go, then you need to bring in another centre back. But bring John Terry into that coaching staff, and I guarantee you see a lot of changes. You'll see a lot of changes defensively about how we play our game and how we set up and how we are defensively and how we are from set pieces and corners, free kicks, and how we are from playing out from the back. I would guarantee you we would see a difference if John Terry was on the coaching staff for the senior squad. Even on an interim basis, there can't be many people against that, because we're not getting Thiago Silva back anytime soon. But we have arguably one of the best defenders in the Premier League ever on our payroll right now. Bring him up. Let him come up to the senior squad and coach some of these younger, the Levi Colwells, who we know we want to be the next. It looks like for me, Levi Colwell, like I said, he's probably the best centre back out of all of the ones that we've got. Let's make him the future of the club defensively, because he's got all the qualities. Levi Colwell, you know, even the captaincy, leadership traits, I see it in him. But they need guidance. These defenders need guidance, because all season we're going to be getting on top of these defenders, and we're going to be saying how bad they've played or the mistakes that they've made. Let's change things off field as well, not just on the field, but let's bring someone in like John Terry, who can go out there day in day out, train, work with these defenders, and help them. It's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. If John Terry ever listens to this podcast, go and have a word with Maresca and whoever else, and make sure next couple of weeks, next couple of months, you're involved in a Cobham in the senior squad. Because if defensively, I think if you was in that fold, in that capacity, we would see so much more defensively better performances from our Chelsea squad if John Terry's there. 100%. 100%. But let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, hit the Linktree link in the description as well. We're going to get on to our predicted lineup for tomorrow's game. Big game for us tomorrow, really, isn't it? I mean, let's look at let's try and find the league table actually for the Conference League as it is at the moment. Because again, I keep saying this, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way at all. I don't mean it in a disrespectful way at all to to anybody actually involved in this. But let's bring up the table. But we should win this. Not just this match. We should be winning the Conference League easily. 1,000,000% we should be winning this. Yeah, we're 6 at the moment. We're 6 at the moment. We now play. Shout out Stel, our monitor, flying. Love that. Yeah, let's have a look at these guys, because this is who we're playing, Panathinaikos, tomorrow night. Now, they currently sit 6th in the Greek Super League. Theo did go through and look at their form very recently in terms of their current performances. They lost to Lens. That was in the playoffs. Sorry. So let's have a look. Where are we? This is mad the way they have this on here. Oh, here we are. So I think that's Barak they'd played on the 3rd of October. They drew 1-1. Recently drew Olympiacos as well. They won at the weekend, 1-0. They're a team that we have to, honestly, we can't come into this game and just think we're gonna beat them. Like, that won't work. We have to come into this game with the idea that they can actually do us some damage. They can. We know that. It's not even a it shouldn't be a debate at all. They can definitely do us some damage. The atmosphere will be a massive factor in this game in the stadium, because anyone that watches Greek football, Cyprian football, Turkish football, as we said yesterday on the podcast, it's very intimidating for a player to go there that's not used to those surroundings. And I don't mean that intimidating in like a violent way. It's just passion of the fans, and I think that sometimes it can change the way that the game will be played. But some of these are professionals, they have to be, they haven't just played in England. Some of them have played abroad and all the rest of it, so they're going to be used to that. But we have to win. I mean, we win tomorrow convincingly as well. We could top the group in the Conference League, and I think we have to just continue momentum. As I said, there are some really difficult teams in here. Amonio is a team that we cannot disregard at all. A lot of people will see Amonio and probably not even know who they are. My good friend Stel, if you're into Cyprian football, has a podcast, No Chufters. Go and check him out. Amonio content on there. We could potentially be playing them at some point throughout this Conference League, so make sure you go and check them out. I'll put the link in here as well. But us as Chelsea, yeah, you look at Hearts, Rapid Vienna, another team, Lask as well, Copenhagen, Real Betis, Ghent. There are some difficult teams in there. I don't want to just come in and say, Fiorentina as well. Just because we're Chelsea, we should win and we should beat them. we should have a very good go at this tournament, and we should. I'm saying it as objectives for the club. They should be going out and aiming to win this, but there's no guarantee we'll do that. No guarantee at all. Let's go to our lineup because uh, let's try and do it from front to back. So goalkeeper, as I've just said, there's no way I'm having Robert Sanchez in goal tomorrow. Now, even if, and this is a big if, even if Jurgensen is not fit, I'm half tempted to put Bettinelli in goal. I'm half tempted to put Bettinelli in goal. I don't want to see Robert Sanchez in goal tomorrow. I don't want to see it. I can't watch another game of mistakes at the back. So I'm not going for him. I'm going to go for Jurgensen. I think we'll be fit. I think Maresca's got his press conference today at some point. So we'll probably find out later on today, maybe even in the next couple of hours, on the fitness levels of Jurgensen and who might be in goal. But for now, I'm going to go with the so-called reserve backup goalkeeper to Sanchez in goal. Now, there's a question mark about Reece James. I know a lot of people, I can hear it already, a lot of people are going to be screaming for Reece James to start this game. I wouldn't start him. I would not start him. One thing as well, Maresca did come out and say that he's Reece James is going to be playing one game a week for the foreseeable because of how long he's been out, and they want to manage his minutes. And again, I don't think, now, I said the other day that this is the sort of game that I would have played Reece James in, not on Sunday. Now, the fact that he played 60, 70 minutes on Sunday tells me that he's not going to start this game. But I was surprised to see his name on the team sheet on Sunday, so you never know. But I'm not going to start him. We know that obviously Acheampong will not be playing. Gusto was playing left back, but he's probably been the most convincing player in terms of fitness. And my worry for him, he's had a couple of injuries last season. I would start Gusto in this game. I would start Gusto at right back. My centre back pairing would be Badiashile, and we know that Wesley Fofana won't be in the team because he's not in the squad. So I would go with Axel Dezazi as my two centre back partnerships there. Now left back, again, we don't have much options. We know obviously again, Renato Vega is there. He is there. In fact, I think I'd start with Renato Vega. And what I would do is I would bring on, depending on the game, but more so anyway, I would bring on Cucurella to get 20, 15 minutes. You would expect Cucurella to be back in the squad on Sunday against Newcastle. And I think and I like Vega, I've said on here before, Renato Vega for me is one of those players that is unfortunate that he's come up against someone like Cucurella who's in really good form and almost undroppable in the Chelsea squad at the moment. But I think games like this, you've got to utilize, rotate your squad, use the numbers that you've got in the squad. And I think Vega, again, I keep saying it on here, we know that Vega loves to drop into spaces here. He loves to drop into these inverted spaces here. You move Badiashile over, Dezazi becomes over here, and Gusto, and again, vice versa. Sometimes we do see the other side where Gusto will drop into the midfield. Dezazi will come back in here, become the new right back. You'll have your centre back as Badiashile and your left back as Vega. So it does give us a bit more options with our fullbacks, with Vega playing there. Not to say Cucurella can't do that. I think he can, but the rotation has to be used in the squad. It has to be used in the squad. I don't know what this formation is. I don't know what's going on here. Bam, let's do that. The two in midfield would be Cesare Cassade and Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Or would it? Or would it now? Let me change that. I think we're going to see Enzo. I think we'll see Enzo in this game. I think we'll see Enzo and Dewsbury Hall. I think Dewsbury Hall, this is his time to shine for the club. This is his time where he gets his minutes. I can assume Enzo Maresca's probably said to him, "Look, you're not gonna probably get as much game time as you'd like at Chelsea this season anyway. But these are the sort of games I'm going to throw you into, and these are the sort of games you need to impress me in. You need to do more in, and I think he'll start. The reason I think Enzo Fernandez will start is because he didn't get. I'm trying to think what time did he come on the game against Liverpool? Let's have a look. I feel like it was quite late into the game, maybe 70, 75 minutes. Let's have a look. It felt like it was quite late into the game. Oh, okay, 50 minutes. It was part of the triple substitution. Okay, so you only got you only got like what 70 minutes of the game, but I think he'll play him. I think he'll rest Caicedo, um, and I think Lavia will be rested. Again, we have to remember he's come back from a long injury, so we need to manage his minutes correctly as well. You might see Caicedo come off the bench, or even Lavia come off the bench for Dewsbury Hall in the second half of the game tomorrow. But I would start with Dewsbury Hall and Enzo Fernandez. Um, gives you that balance as well. I think this is a massive. I know it sounds crazy, but this is a massive game for Enzo as well because I'm still not convinced of his role. I'm still not convinced of Enzo Fernandez's role. Is he good as a double pivot? What is his role? Is he a 10? Do we play him higher up the field? I just don't know. But I feel like this is the sort of game where again he's got to sort of show himself. He's got to show his worth. £100 million, as I said a couple of weeks ago, for £100 million, I expect £100 million player to be able to put in an 8 or 9 out of 10 performance most games. He shouldn't be kind of being question marked for a Conference League game, whoever the opponent is. But um, I've been impressed with Lavia, the moments that he's been given against Man City and against Liverpool. Obviously, coming back from his injuries. And Caicedo for me has been our best midfielder. So he definitely needs to be managed his minutes and be rested when he can. And this is a perfect game to do that. The three going forward. I think Theo said Mikhailo Mudryk on the left yesterday, but now I'm starting to think, would I play Mudryk in a game which we need an early goal and we need to quieten down the crowd and we need to be convincing? Possibly not, man. Got to take that back. What I said yesterday, I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't play him. What I would do though, because I know Maresca keeps saying that he wants to play Neto on the right, but I think I'd play Neto on the left in this game. Um, I would actually go with this because I want to see more from certain players. Um, I would flip that round. I would have João Felix as the 10. And then I would have, where's he gone? Where's he gone? I would have Noni Madweki, who I think we need to see more of. Because Noni Madweki is a really, really strange player because he shows you moments of brilliance or goals. You think back to the hat trick against Wolves, but he feels like he's kind of like hit and miss. And I want to see, I think he's the sort of player that I would keep. You don't want to change the squad completely from the game that was played against Liverpool on Sunday, which theoretically, obviously, Gusto survived that in terms of the starting 11 anyway. Gusto and Madweki are the only ones that started the game on Sunday. So that they've, the other 9 players are changes from the starting 11. Now, obviously, you're going to swap and change that throughout the game, but I feel like Noni Madweki has to start in this game. Obviously, the other option is that you could bring Mudryk on the left and put Neto on the right. Again, when was the last decent performance from Mudryk? I still think back to his debut, second half Anfield 2 seasons ago. I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with Mudryk on Madweki on the right, Neto on the left, João Felix as the 10, and I'm going to go for Christopher Nkunku. Now, again, there is look, I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but there is an option that you bring Mark Gu back into the team because another player, I think, has he featured since the vets? Possibly not. I can't remember, but I would. There's an option to say you could go with that and put Mark Gu there, but I think this is a game again. I'll bring him on. Let's play Nkunku there. Let's play him as the striker. Let's see if we can get an early goal tomorrow. What we need to see in this team though as well, and why I would play Medweki is because they already have the chemistry. These two have the chemistry. If you notice in the games so far that they've played in, Medweki will switch into cutting and use that space there, which will free up a lot of space for Gusto to overlap. You would expect Neto and Kunku to occupy the space here. Felix maybe just behind on the outside of the box here, and one of the two here. And as I said before, you still got options here. We play quite a high line anyway under Maresca. So, you'd have your centre backs here when we're in attack. You have Dewsbury Hall sitting here on the off chance that the ball comes back out from a crossing or whatever and get the ball back in. And again, Madweki could then advance a bit more further. So I think playing Malo Gusto, who both, as I said, got the relationship that they're building on that right side, playing together makes a lot more sense than playing someone like the Zazie there, or playing Reece James, who's just coming back to fitness. I just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's the team I would go with. That's who I would play. And we have options off the bench. I think that's one of the things we've got to remember. We've got so many options off the bench that, Maresca's got no excuse. He really has no excuse to not get the best out of the team that plays tomorrow, whether it's a whole new 11 that starts, or he tweaks what he had on Sunday and, interchanges it slightly. But we've got the squad to deal with majority of those teams, in 97% of those teams in the Conference League, easily, with no issues. We have Mark Gill on the bench. We have Mikhailo Mudryk on the bench. We'd have Caicedo, Lavia, Reece James, Cucurella, who I think will get some minutes tomorrow, because obviously we would expect Cucurella to be back in the squad after his suspension. So we would expect him to come on at some point throughout the game, just to get him some fitness for Sunday. But the question mark for me is always going to come down to it. I'm not concerned about our attackers. I think even amongst the most difficult games, we still tend to score a goal, and we got to see that against Liverpool. But for me, the concern will always be, and why I did this stream today, is because of our defense. Our defense is going to let us down. Our defense will let us down if we do not find ways to play out from the back convincingly and with assertive ways of doing that, because we need to have a two centre back partnership that is built upon understanding how each other play, and we haven't really had that. Like I said, Wesley Fofana's in and out of the team, played the most games in the Premier League with Tosin, but we need to have a solid, structured centre back partnership, and then we need to hopefully get Reece James back up to full fitness. I think that would be harsh on Malagusto if we just drop him out of the team, but I think there needs to be healthy competition between the two of them. And then obviously Cucurella is coming back into the team now, so we know that there's a bit more regularity with him being at left back. But like I said before, I would personally have John Terry in that coaching. I put him in a coaching role for the remainder of this season, and I guarantee you would see a lot less silly mistakes happening in the back line for us. It just wouldn't happen. It just would not happen at all. I just don't think we would see that many mistakes from our defense if we had someone maybe coaching them better, who's played at this level, understands the game a bit more than maybe some of the coaches that we've currently got on our setup. Bring John Terry into the fold. Promote him on a temporary basis and see how he gets on. That's if John Terry wants to do it. But for me, if you love the club and this is the club that you claim to love and all the rest of it, surely you want to give that a go. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what your lineup will be for tomorrow, your predicted lineup. And let's hope we get the win against Panathinaikos. in the Conference League. We will have our preview video on Friday for Newcastle coming up, so make sure you tune in for that one. We should hopefully have the podcast as well over the next couple of days, so the next episode of the podcast will be out. And until then, thank you very much for tuning in. Do not forget to subscribe. Make sure you like this video. 2 things I'm asking you to do before you leave. And until next time, we'll be back soon. Thanks for watching.